Parents, George and Dari Goodman. My dad died about 12 years ago. He was a physician, an ophthalmologist, where we grew up in Bayshore, New York, in Long Island. And he was just committed to our community being a better place. I don't know if they even talked about people being activists then. My mother, too, deeply committed to peace. She was a social worker. She taught women's history and literature in local community colleges. And I mean, the example of my mother, who died a few years ago, a truly wonderful woman, such a role model for us all, beloved in the community, as my father was. She taught women's literature and history at local community colleges, you know, continuing ed for truck drivers and cops and whoever, you know, they'd get a couple of credits and it would mean a higher salary. So they'd come and they thought, okay, we'll take Czech lit, right? We'll take women's literature, it'll be easy. And she's teaching them about Virginia Woolf and Toni Morrison, the great writers, and soon they bring their wives. This was the time of women's liberation in the 1970s, their daughters. Oh, is this what they're talking about, the men would say? And by the end, the classrooms would be packed with those enrolled and their families. And then she went into social work. My dad was involved with Physicians for Social Responsibility. He was a very famous face in the local Long Island railroad stations because they had made this poster. He looked exactly like Peter Sellers, but they made this poster of a doctor in a white jacket with a stethoscope, with a nuclear mushroom in the stethoscope, and it said, "Your doctor is worried." So my dad also led the task force in our community in Bayshore when I was in elementary school, was chosen to lead a task force to integrate the schools of our community. We had a diverse community, Bayshore, but it was pretty much de facto segregation where people lived. And so the schools would be the great equalizer. And I would go with him to cafeterias and auditoriums of the schools. There would be 1,000 screaming parents. And I watched as he just, I mean, death threats against this task force that was going to decide what to do. But ultimately how he just so judiciously made his way through to a more just solution in our community. That is my parents. I've lost my parents, but their legacy lives on in me and my brothers and all the community, and they've been such an inspiration to us.
Amy Goodman is our guest, author and host of Democracy